Jenny, you've been telling me that it has been difficult to manage Henry's behaviors, and this is very distressing to you. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, as you know, Henry has been diagnosed with ADHD and he's really hyperactive and impulsive. And it's difficult for him to focus and to concentrate. It has been interfering a lot with his success at school. There have been so many times that Henry has come home from school with a note from the teacher saying that Henry has been disrupted or distracted and didn't finish his classwork.
Sounds like the school has had a tough time managing Henry's behaviors. But it has also been very stressful for you at home. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, really stressful. It is exhausting having to constantly redirect Henry and get him to focus on his homework for even 5 minutes. I already come home exhausted from a long day at work, and then Henry just adds to it. I love my son, but he is hyperactive, and it's a lot to manage.
Sounds like you're dealing with a lot right now. Working full time and raising a family has taken a toll on you. Can you tell me more about how you have been managing Henry's behaviors at home?
Not very well. It seems like he can't ever sit still long enough to do his homework. Or instead of doing his homework, he is drumming with his pencil or doodling on the page. So I just try to redirect his focus every time he gets distracted. Some people have been suggesting to put him on medication, but I don't want to do that yet. Can you think of anything else I could try at home before resorting to medication?
Henry, like many kids with ADHD, struggles with maintaining focus and concentration on any one activity for an extended period of time. It sounds like you don't like the idea of putting Henry on medication and you're interested in some other strategies you could try. Is that correct?
Yeah, do you have any suggestions? I know I'm here to talk about me, but anything would help.
Yeah, it sounds like this is as much about you as it is about Henry, and I'm here for you. So let's see if we can't come up with some solutions that don't involve medicating your son that will work to relieve some of your stress and also help Henry be more successful in school.
Okay.
So one option is to try something called the token economy. Have you ever heard of this before?
I don't think so.
Okay, so a token economy is a way to systematically reinforce some behavior that you've chosen through symbolic reinforcers such as tokens that can be exchanged for other primary reinforcers such as items or activities.
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay, a token economy system is a lot like how we earn money in our everyday lives. For example, you work for a company and you get paid in dollars. The dollars are symbolic reinforcement because they wouldn't be reinforcing in and of themselves. What makes the dollars reinforcing is what we can exchange these dollars for, and that is why we are motivated to work hard.
Okay, I see. So we would be taking the same concept and applying it with Henry.
Exactly. Using the homework example, let's work together to set a goal that you hope Henry can achieve through use of the token economy.
I want Henry to be able to sit at the table and complete his homework without getting up a single time. That would be so nice.
That's a very clear goal. You've said exactly what you would like to see happen, Henry completing his homework, and what you would not like to see happen, which is getting out of his seat. This is a great long-term goal, but it would be important to begin with a goal that's more achievable. Wouldn't you agree that asking Henry to complete all of his homework might be a bit difficult for Henry right now?
Yeah, I can see how that would be asking an awful lot for Henry based on how frequently he is getting up out of his seat right now.
You're probably right. With that in mind, would you be willing to track the number of times that Henry gets out of his seat without the token economy in place so that we can determine a place to start?
Well, I think I would rather just get right into it. I already know he is getting out of his seat a lot and he needs to do it less.
I can tell that you're eager to get the ball rolling with this procedure, but how would you feel about tracking this frequency for just one day? It would be really helpful to know where we are starting from, and when it comes time to reassess how Henry is doing, it would be important to know where he started. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I suppose one day wouldn't be so bad, especially if it means getting the best results in the long run.
Great. It will only take like 10 or 20 minutes, and your only job will be to watch Henry as he tries to complete his homework on his own. We can talk about some general guidelines to help you record the most accurate information.
Sounds good.
And when it comes to actually implementing the token economy, it will be necessary to have a system in place that will maintain accuracy and consistency. Sometimes parents like to use a reusable board with Velcro tokens, and other parents like to use a notebook where they can write a check mark each time their child engages in behavior. It might be difficult to imagine, so I can show you a sample token board if you'd like.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see what you're talking about.
Okay, so here's one example of a token board. You can see that there's a lot of spaces for the tokens to be placed. Generally, the way that it works is that a child would be provided a token after each behavior, and then once the child has filled up the board, they would exchange a token board for their desired activity or item. And when I say exchange, I mean physically hand you the board full of tokens in exchange for the item or permission to engage in their desired activity. It would work the same way with using check marks on a notepad. Is this helpful in understanding a little better?
Yeah, I think that token board is really cool. I think it would be best to use something similar to that.
Yeah, you can actually just take that one with you if you'd like. That way you won't have to make one or buy one on your own. This is extra, so it's yours if you want it.
Thanks, I really appreciate that.
No problem. And so the next piece of the token economy is making sure that you have reinforcers available that Henry will be motivated to work for. And the best way to identify the strongest reinforcers is to ask him what he wants to work for that day. The day after you celebrated a birthday, it might be a good option for him to work for a piece of cake. Or on a really sunny day, it might be cool to work for a time playing outside on the basketball court.
Yeah, that makes sense. It sounds like a little give and take. Like, although Henry has a tough time doing his homework, it will be nice for him to just say, I just have to earn 5 tokens before I can go outside. And that will hopefully motivate him to get it done. I think this will really motivate him to stay on task.
Sounds like you've got it figured out, and it is always a good idea to tell Henry the rules of the token system. It's not a secret, and in fact, telling him exactly what you'd like to see him do will only increase the likelihood that he will do it. So go ahead and tell him, Henry, when you complete 5 math problems, you can go outside, or whatever reinforcer he's chosen. And at some point, although not right at the beginning, we can start to incorporate some negative consequences. So once he starts to have success completing the problems, but maybe you still notice that he's getting out of his seat more than you would like, then you might be able to tell him that if he gets out of his seat, then he's going to lose one of his tokens. That's not something that we should use right away. It'll be important for him to get exposure to what is good about the token economy, which is that he gets what he wants, the reinforcer. And are you with me so far?
Yeah, but you said not to incorporate the negative consequences yet?
Right. It's important for the success of the procedure for him to experience what is really good about it before he's exposed to the not so good part. Basically, it's important to target one behavior at a time, and in this instance, that behavior is Henry completing his homework, and then the next behavior is Henry completing his homework without getting out of his seat. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. I wouldn't want to ask too much of him too soon. He really, really struggles with this homework business.
Exactly, and I think the final important piece of the token economy is to always provide accurate and consistent delivery of the tokens. You have a major role in the success of the token economy system. Be sure to deliver the token for each question, and if he doesn't complete the question, then don't provide the token. It will also be necessary to provide praise for Henry's behavior. A simple nice job or a pat on the back would, when he finishes, would be really nice.
I can see how that would be important, and I'm definitely up for the task.
You'll do great. And we can assess his progress every week or so to see what needs to be tweaked.